Hey guys, we're back again for the February edition of the Truman Lake Fishing Intel Expert Roundtable Guide Dinner. I am accompanied by some of the best guides on the lake. Super fortunate to be friends with them and have them involved with Truman Lake Fishing Intel. Jeff Falkenberry, Endless Season Guide Service. Hunter Bowling, who helps his dad Richard Bowling with Richard Bowling's Guide Service. And Dylan Stocking of the Get Outdoors Guide Service. We're short one man today. David Ryan is one of our usuals. He was a little sick, so we'll definitely miss him, but we got a lot of great topics to go over. And at first, I want to start by saying thank you to Nini's Italian Steakhouse and Restaurant down in Warsaw, Missouri. They help sponsor these dinners. David and Gina are awesome. David also has a crappie bait company, Just Another Crappie Bait Company is what it's called. Makes awesome, really tough baits. So definitely check them out because they help us out a lot. And we're really, really appreciative of it. And I want to say thank you to Englishport Marine as well because they help sponsor these videos. And they are your go-to resource here in the Truman and Lake of the Ozarks area for Phoenix, Camas, low boats. And they're located just nice, conveniently right before you get into Warsaw on 7 Highway. So be sure to check them out. Couple of little giveaway announcements. So when you see this video, what you need to do to enter the giveaway is make sure you like Truman Lake Fishing Intel, the Facebook page. Make sure you like it, get on Facebook and share this video and tag 3 of your friends in the comments of the video on the Truman Lake Fishing Intel page. That way we see that you shared it. And what you're going to have a chance to win is a couple of things. First, we're giving away another Truman Lake Fishing Intel Pro Plus membership. Normally $75 for an annual membership. We're giving one away for free. It gives you full access to all species fishing reports and all the exclusive content on the website. So super exciting. It is the most popular subscription on the website because of how much information that you can get out of it. So if you want a chance to win, do what I said and share this video. But I'm also going to pick a couple other runner-ups, which are going to give, actually I'm going to grab them. I should have had them here to begin with. But you're going to get 2 other folks are going to get the drawing for Just Another Crappie Bait Jig Company, a couple boxes that David made for us.
Let me take a look there.
Yeah.
See what they smell like.
So what's really interesting, and so Hunter talked about, he uses them all day long. These baits, you can't appreciate it until you have it in your hand, are extremely tough. And he uses saltwater plastic, I think he said, and does a couple other things that make it as tough as it is. And if you use one of those screw-on jigs especially, and David was telling me this earlier, he might go through 1 jig head, maybe 2 jigs over the course of a couple of days. So it really saves you a lot on going through a bunch of jigs.
You pull the tails apart.
Yeah. Yep. And then I'll go through like one pack a day. These right here, I can use one of these for all day long. I mean, they're unreal. I've used the same one for the last 3 days. It's unreal.
That's freaking awesome.
They're good jigs.
You can
not catching very many fish.
You can find them. You can find them on Facebook at Just Another Crappie Bait Company. He's got all kinds of colors. He does custom orders, so be sure to check them out. But we are giving away these 2 boxes. Again, do the same thing for the Pro Plus membership, and you'll be entered into the drawing. So we're excited to do that. But it is February 3rd, and we will go ahead and get started on the good stuff, what you came for. And it's been actually fairly decent weather, I guess, the last few days. We're expecting some pretty major cool downs. But Dylan, we'll start with you because you texted me earlier you were out and had a decent day, it sounded like.
Good
Tell me
day.
about what the day was like on the last probably good day that we're going to have for a while.
Fought a little bit of ice this morning. Not very thick, just enough to get in the way.
Yeah, yeah.
Be enough to be a pain. We fished in 20 plus foot of water. Fish were either at 3 foot, 12 foot, or 20 foot. And they were, none on trees. I think we caught every fish today out roaming out in the middle of the creek. And they were aggressive though. You get close to them and they'd come and get it. So it's a pretty good day.
Was the water clarity? How was water clarity?
Wasn't dirty. I wouldn't call it chocolate milk or anything like that. It wasn't clean. It was a little stained, not bad though.
Yeah.
34-degree water temperature, some ice on top.
So what are you guys seeing lake wide? 'Cause I know you guys have been on the Grand, the Tebow. Have you haven't been out on the Osage a whole lot, have you?
The only thing I did on the Osage was cross the river at Osceola, headed for Tennessee the other day.
Oh.
It was rolling and
Yeah.
had lots of trees going down with it.
So is it pretty chocolatey in the upper parts of the arms, or what are we looking at?
Grand's pretty dirty. It's dirty.
Tebow's really dirty.
Nasty.
Yeah.
I was over on the Tebow today and caught some fish, but man, is it dirty.
Yeah,
I mean, like, visibility.
yeah.
It should be about.
Yeah, it should be 18 inches.
Then you were telling a story about backing your truck. Was that over in the Tebow? Your
That
back
was that was at Windsor Crossing at Tebow. Backed my truck, backed the boat in one morning, and my lights, you couldn't see the lights anymore after about 3 or 4 inches, and I just pulled it up the ramp and strapped it back down. And it's
That's crazy. So on that topic, I want to discuss a little bit about dirty water here in the wintertime. How does that impact the fishing? Obviously, you made a decision that was not what you wanted to see, and you went to Bucksaw. So let's talk about, for the folks that are wanting to learn, how does the dirty water impact the crappie right now? Why is it not something you want to be in here in the really cold water coming in?
drastic changes anytime
Mm-hmm.
will kill the bite.
If it's been dirty for like it has been all year
Uh-huh.
and it's stayed the same color, you catch them. But like Dylan's talking, we had 3 inches of rain last week. All that water's coming down the Tebow, the Grand, the Osage, and when it shocks them, it goes from this much visibility to this, and then it's just it scatters them. You can't get them to bite. So then you look for the clean water on the lake, and there's always some clean water, cleaner water.
Right. Cleaner water being a little bit further down towards the dam on the Grand Arm
The
and
mid-lake area, yeah, I guarantee you down around Clear Creek on the Tebow would probably be good. The mid-Grand, the lower Osage, of course the Pomney's always clean, so
yeah.
anywhere in that cleaner water you'll catch them.
So in the cleaner water, are the fish, are they more aggressive to chase that bait versus the muddy water you got to hit them on the head?
Yeah, they can see it.
Yeah, they can see it.
The day we was at, me and Dylan was in the same creek for a while, and I got tired of fighting the ice, so I left that creek and went a little further down the lake toward Longshow. And I'd take a jig, and the fish would be out there 20 foot. A lot of them's 2 foot on the surface, and be a little wolf pack of them, like 5 of them. You make a good pitch to them, and you pull that line with your left hand and keep it up high, and you can pick about 3 of them fish off, and they would chase it. But then after you caught about the second or third one, they run. The rest of them run. So then you pan, you're looking, and that creek that we was in, Mid-Grand Creek, you know, the water was good, see down about a foot, and they would chase the bait. And somebody good with a live scope in it, or rigging really tear them up in there. With a live scope, I would say 30 minutes you get your limit.
Yeah.
There's that many fish, they're wanting to chase that much.
Well, and that's what I was going to ask about the rigging, because a lot of folks don't have live scope, so you're not really able to just freaking hit them on the head when you don't have live scope. So it sounds like spider rigging might be
Rigging would be really good.
yeah.
Who doesn't have livestock?
Jeff Falcon.
I don't.
I read a week ago Sunday with the veterinarian from up in Kansas City over on the Tebow before it got dirty. And man, it took longer to put the boat in than it did to catch our limits of fish. 8 holes out, and you couldn't keep up with them.
Wow.
That's so much fun too.
And ducks the ball.
I have a blast with that. It's funny talking about that live scope thing. I was at the Grizzly Jig Show, and Brad Chappell come up, you know, as the Crappie Connection podcast, and he comes up, he's like, "Do you use slip corks?" I said, "Sure, springtime, pitching a jig." He goes, "I'm just looking for somebody to talk about something other than live scope on this podcast."
I told my guys today, they got pretty good at pitching that jig out there. 16th ounce jig, because it was so shallow, you know, and you had to keep it up in the water column. But if we had our casting pose with a slip cork, because you see how deep the fish are, and have your line 2 foot, have it marked. You know, you see them fish at 5 feet, just pull it down real quick and cast to them, stay further off of them.
You just wear them out. Watch that
Like
bottom.
springtime, yeah, it would be. But you can pipe it right to them.
How much fun would that be?
Oh, it'd be so much fun. I told him, I said, I wish I had my little casting pole in there,
For
because
sure.
it would have worked.
I did
Sure.
it in Deepwater Creek earlier around deer season. The fish started to come up a little bit, and I had slip corks in there, and we'd watch them just
That's
slip
so
corks
much
down.
fun.
Yep, it would be fun. They're aggressive down there. You know, you get up in the upper Grand, they they just kind of follow. They don't chase it in that dirty water. You
Yeah.
get down in that mid lake, they chase it.
Yeah. Now, did you say you were finding them just in suspended pockets around shad, or what's the situation on how they're relating to structure right now?
All of them fish were pretty much in wide open water and never even seen a shad.
Oh, really?
Never seen a ball of shad.
They're just roaming around.
roaming around, coming back there that warmer water.
Yeah.
Water back in that creek when I got done was almost 38 degrees.
Okay.
So it
I had
was quite
41 in the brown water today.
dirty water. Yeah, the creek that we started in, it had ice in it. I left after I got about 15 fish in there because you could lay a half-ounce sinker on the ice and it wouldn't bust through it.
Mm.
You tried to hit it, bust through to go to the fish and it wouldn't do it. So that's the reason we left. But that water was 34 something when I started. And I was in there 2 hours and then went down like 3 miles and it was 38 degree water.
Mm.
So there's a big difference.
Yeah. So we're expecting a lot of ice here probably the next couple of weeks. I mean, is it basically going to make Upper Grand and the upper parts of the arms pretty inaccessible, or what's the...
Well, I mean, you could drive across it probably.
You said the whole lake would be inaccessible.
Really?
If there's no wind, yeah. Because
Yeah.
with that creek today, we fished it both of us yesterday as well. The one that had the ice in it this morning, it was colder the night before.
Mm-hmm.
Never had any ice. Today, half the creek was solid ice.
Yeah,
So
we're looking at 0 nights.
For
So you
several
think
days.
the whole lake is going to freeze over?
I say if there's no wind for one night, it will.
Even if, I mean, because the lake's what, 3-4 feet high right now?
Yeah,
Even if they're running water at the dam.
They're running water.
they're running water. Yeah,
They only run it for a little while. Though.
but it don't run fast enough.
Mm.
Like we've seen it, or I know we've seen. I know they've seen it too. But
Drop out from
it dropped 4 or 5 inches,
Mhm.
and there'd be ice, and then a void,
Mm-hmm.
and then the lake.
Yeah,
Yeah.
in the water.
Interesting.
They'd have to run a lot of water, and that would keep the main lake down by the dam open. But I'm going to say the whole thing, with the way it looks for next week, will be froze.
Yeah. So, I mean, if you're looking for options, then Shawnee Bend might be the only place that you could even come close to putting in. Is that...
I would think so.
If
If
that's traditionally where we end up in this situation.
Yeah.
I remember
If the window
5, 6, 7 years ago, a buddy of mine and me were out. He's dead now, but we were over there and we were fishing these crappie, and we could hear this boat. Wow! Wow! What in the heck is going on? We look over on the ramp, and Richard's boat froze to his trailer.
it was.
Wow.
I get back in, and Jeff will tell you, I back in as that Ranger boat, and it would float that trailer up and come around to the.
The trailer floated up with the
because
boat.
the boat would float the trailer.
Oh
it was
my-
that solid.
Wow.
So
That's a
finally,
long time.
I was like, "Hey, Luke, reel him in." So we reeled him. Went over there. He's like, "You just want to get in with us?" He's like, "Yep." So we just struck a boat up there and got in the boat with us.
That's crazy.
I've seen it take up to more than an hour to sit in. The water's always warmer than
Right.
air.
Right.
Put your boat in the water and let it sit there in reverse, throwing water in there. Take more than an hour to thaw it out.
Wow. So we're expecting this
Normally peel your carpet off the bumps.
Yeah.
this freeze up is going to occur next week. Is that what I saw?
Saturday night.
Saturday.
Yeah, Sunday morning.
Okay.
Should be cold.
So ice fishing on these strip pits we might be talking about that on Fishing Report.
Yeah, some of them pits. I don't know how deep your pit is. I mean, I know like the pits I fish over here, they're pretty deep,
Yeah.
and I don't know if it'll get that thick in
Yeah.
deep water.
Yeah.
It could, because they don't get much wind when
Yeah.
they set down in there.
We were able to do some ice fishing. It was a couple years ago. We had 6 inches ice, which is plenty.
Oh yeah.
So I didn't have the equipment to
They
like.
say you can drive a truck on 4. I wouldn't.
Yeah, no freaking way.
Let's
would I
try
do
your
that.
truck.
That's what I've always heard, but maybe it's trying to get me to do it.
Yeah, no freaking way. Jeez Louise. That freaked me out. I mean, I've done some ice fishing up north in Minnesota. I don't know if you guys have
What
done
do
it.
they say?
Well, I thought it was 12 inches.
On a truck?
On a truck.
No, it's
Don't quote me.
I
I
swear
don't
it's
know.
way less.
It's less than that.
Yeah.
Regardless, it is like people down here like don't understand unless you go up there. It's a whole different world. I mean, they live for that freaking stuff. And the ice will get. Last time I was up there, it's 52 inches thick, and they have. Imagine you guys know like a Chief's tailgate. Imagine that.
Oh yeah.
On the ice, they have these big festivals out on the ice. It's
Yeah.
really kind of wild. They have like neighborhoods where, like, you reserve your spot and they plow like cul-de-sacs out on the ice, and they have streets. where you're like, hey, I'm at road 203, and boom, okay, there you go, number 7, and it is freaking wild.
That'd be cool.
Yeah, it is. It is.
I'd be that dude sitting in a shanty that blows across the ice.
Yep. It's a wild deal. It's really fun, especially if you do have the equipment, those little flashers that you can see the fish. Yep. I went and bought a couple of those stupidly because I'm going to use them like twice in like a period of 5 years.
I got some buddies in Minnesota that are like huge ice fishing, like legit ice fishing.
Yeah, it's freaking wild. So, Hunter, you were out yesterday, right?
I was out yesterday and today.
Okay, so fill us in.
Yesterday I fished right around Buxall area and fished just a mouth of a creek. Caught them pretty decent, and then I moved to a bluff, which I don't fish very many bluffs because that's something I never really got into. And I started at the bluff end, seeing a bunch of crappie. Went down the bluff a little ways, and it kind of scattered out on me. Didn't see as many. Then I made my to a pocket in the bluff, and that's where I see most of my crappie at. Then the night I went back out, went to just the back of a creek. It was 14 foot of water, and crappie were just loaded. But that's in the upper grand, 2 to 3 crappie on each tree. But getting into bite was a lot harder than the ones down by the bluff.
So have you been? Jelinek been doing some wintertime jerkbait fishing.
I haven't done any of it. Haven't done any bass fishing.
Yeah.
Nope. Just sticking to the crappie right now.
Yeah. Well, I know Truman and David's going to have some information for us, but it's a tough lake in the wintertime, from what I hear. So it sounds like Lake of the Ozarks is kind
It's
of.
got to be there though.
Oh yeah.
I mean, it's there somewhere.
Oh.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just when you can go to Table Rock and Lake of the Ozarks that have outrageous wintertime bass fishing, it's kind of hard to pass up. But so Jeff, we haven't talked about catfish, and you've been doing some catfishing. What's the latest on that?
Bite's been pretty good. Obviously, when we get those big rains and that fresh water coming in, and then running water at the dam puts a little current in the lake, so you can start catching those fish that are setting up on current edges, whether it be a ledge or a ditch or a point or whatever. You grab those fish, they'll be stacked up one way or the other. You can even catch some shallow fish, 3 to 5 foot fish, in the
Damn,
really dirty water.
Those are huge.
Yeah. Yeah, we've had some. We had some last week that were some really, really good fish. We were catching those fish out of a ditch in about 14 to 16 feet of water. Was in the ditch. We were fishing right in the ditch, but it swung real close to the shore, so we had the boat positioned on one side, and we were little ways from it, having to put the baits in that ditch. Well, you was telling Richard, and you'd reel those fish up, and you drag their heads up that mud bank, and they'd come in with 3 inches of mud, looked like a crankbait that dug into the bottom of the pond.
Wow.
Because that ditch was so close to the shore, we had those baits in there, and you're actually dragging those fish up the edge of the bank.
Yeah.
Pretty comical, really.
Yeah.
But you stay busy.
Yeah.
You stay busy. It's
Fresh cut shad obviously is the key.
Yeah, and you can catch all those big breeder shad right now. We're using 3 inches. And throwing, trying not to touch the big breeders.
Yeah.
I get a bunch of them in my net. I just cut them back loose.
Yeah.
I'm trying to get those shad about 3 or 4 inches long right now. Those are working the best.
Are the shad out in the main channel? What's the?
Yeah, they're out in the deeper water. They're just that muddier water I was in today. In real deep water of the main channel, was 32 foot, but 5 foot down was just level. Yeah, and you couldn't throw a net and miss them.
Right.
They're pretty easy to get.
Yeah. I see there's a couple people posting some of those live scope videos of throwing the net. It's freaking cool. Yeah. They drop them down in the shad. It's cool to watch.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. I can always feel them.
Yeah.
We have people, we have clients come along and you guys throwing a net know what I'm talking about, but you can feel in the rope, the vibration. And I always tell people, like, all right, we got our bait. They're like, how did you know that? But it's pretty neat to be able to watch it, these guys, where you can see it go down and tell that there's bait inside the net already.
Yeah.
In case you throw your net on a big old school, it's down about 14 feet. And my net is wide open. It's coming down. This is the shed. Comes down. It closes right here. I get one. It closes up too quick.
Yeah.
I don't have tape on it.
These now are so thick, and I don't have live scope, but I've got a different version that's
Uh-huh.
not near as good right now. I've got the old Lawrence live site, but I can see those shad and I can see my net. And like I said, 5-6 foot down, they're so thick. You would throw that net and you watch it fall, and it would get so full that it would barely even start to fall.
Wow.
Like it would slow it way down.
Wow.
You know, you'd have a whole bunch of rope, but it's just barely sinking because it's so full of bait.
Reminds me that Disney movie Finding Nemo, where all the fish get in the net and they start fighting against it.
It's
to break
exactly
through.
what it looks like.
Yeah.
It's exactly what it looks like. In the summertime, we'll get on batches so big that net will fall and there'll be deep shad, and your net will stop falling, and then it'll start moving off to one side.
Jeez.
It'll have so many baits in it.
Yeah. So to that point, what you were just saying, Richard, because I know not everybody has a shad net that has the tape deal, but you can make some modifications. Just do some duct tape on the.
Right now, I'm intentionally throwing bananas.
Yeah.
And if you throw a shad net, you know what I mean by throwing a banana. It's actually a pour throw where it doesn't open all the way. Because if it opens all the way,
Yeah.
you just have way more than what you need.
Right.
And I don't like to kill them.
Right. Because once you handle them, they're pretty much done.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of haphazardly throwing mine, so it just kind of.
Yeah.
It's a good idea to throw like a 4-footer right now.
Yeah. So I'm just kind of curious, just for the hell of it, what are some of the wildest things you guys have caught in a shad net while throwing for shad?
Trolling motor.
Trolling motor.
You did.
Okay. I mean, how was it? Just totally destroyed? I mean, was it?
Yeah, I've been in the lake for a long time.
Yeah.
Threw the net, and I thought I had a tree, and I actually tied the rope to a cleat on the boat and backed up, and I pulled up an old Johnson troll. I think it's a Johnson Evan or something.
Wow. I'd love to know the story behind
Yeah,
that.
it was wrecked there by pretty well in that island.
Yeah.
So I know somebody's forgot their troll motor and took off. And of course, this had been in water a long time, so probably when the lake first came open.
Interesting.
One of them guys idling around out there with his trolling motor down. He used to be the world's worst.
I've been to shaft.
He's like, I bent the shaft on my trolling motor again. Dang, he'd be out there changing it or whatever. Next day, I'd see him one side of the cove. He'd be headed to the other side with his trolling motor down. What are you doing? Didn't learn.
I still got some of them new shafts. Changed them in.
Man, I don't know. I've caught fishing poles and
Yeah.
stuff. I caught a 38-pound flathead off the
Oh,
docks at Bucksaw one time.
Wow.
I don't know. You just
It's kind of
catch
cool.
weird stuff sometimes.
You catch, I assume, probably crappie quite frequently.
Tons.
Yeah.
I caught a lot of crappie today.
Mm-hmm.
About this long.
They're
Lots
schooled up over there at Tebow to where they look like a ball of shad.
They do.
I talked to the fisheries biologist, and he was talking about how many black crappie that long. I said, that's exactly where I was at. I threw on school after school because I thought there's a big shad I'd got like 3 days prior.
All crappie.
All crappie, all black crappie, all 7 inch.
And their little spinies stick in that monofilament net. Like you can't hardly shake them.
It's like getting a bunch of little catfish in about that.
Oh, if
Yeah.
you get a net full of those, I just want to throw up. Throw the whole thing in. Let it be.
Does that happen often with a bunch of little cats?
Oh,
Oh, yeah.
yeah.
Really?
Especially in the spring.
I seen him do it this, I think it was this summer. He throws his net there by the Bucksaw and cleaning station. I'm on the dock and you can tell he's got a load of fish, and I look over and there's a bunch of them about 5 inches long, and they're really
They're
sticky.
sharp. I mean, they're needles.
Your net is just like this, and you have to take one fish out at a time.
Oh.
I was over there laughing. He's over there.
Are these little blues or channels?
Yeah, both.
Yeah.
You'll catch both, but yeah, a lot of little channels.
Interesting.
It's awful.
Yeah.
You're on the wrong day over there. There's a bunch.
You catch like carp or buffalo, you know?
Yeah.
And you think, oh, I'll just pull the skirt out and shake them out. And they have, if you've ever messed with a carp or buffalo, their spine's like rebar.
Mm-hmm.
And you'll shake one in the net and it'll cut a slice in that net 18 inches long. But you catch some wild stuff. I mean, I've caught some big old bass. Catching spawning shad in the spring. Up shallow, catch some big old bass in the cast net. Lots of catfish, lots of crappie,
Lots of trees.
lots of.
Oh, yeah.
I've caught a lot of trees. Dock cables.
Yeah.
You hit it back when you hit a tree, as a rule.
Yeah, dock cables. A little bit of everything, man.
Do you, speaking of the channel catfish, I've had some people that have asked about channel catfish.
I could put them on a bite right now. It's just as fun as you could ever
Really?
ask for. Yep. Little creek bite. I put my boat in. I ran all the way up to Tebow, and I mean, I'm talking like way up to Tebow, sea highway-ish up to Tebow, and when I come back, I turn where it's really silted in there at Barker Creek, and there's a flat had a bunch of gulls on it, and I'd see bait once in a while pop over there. The wind was blowing in there. This was today, and the water was like 42, 43. I was like, I'm gonna pull in there and just see what's up. So I went in there and kind of set everything, changed my rig up a little bit, and I was in 2.2 feet of water, and you could catch 4-pound channel cats one right after another just as fast as you could throw it in.
Those are great cleaners.
I put about 3 rods out, and the first one went down, and I fought that for about 10 minutes. I was like, I'm out of here.
So when you say you had to change things up a little bit, are you using a smaller hook? What?
Fishing on the bottom.
Okay,
Yeah, I float baits a lot
gotcha.
when I'm fishing. I hadn't been fishing on the bottom, fishing in ditches, so I was throwing these on the bottom.
Yeah.
But I mean, they were healthy. Oh my gosh, they were healthy.
Yeah.
Just big old beefy channel cats. Last week I had a client out and we marked some, and I could tell they were either channels or smaller blues, but there was a pile of them. So we threw in there, and we sat, and a guy from Urich up here, and we sat there and caught them things. He had a blast catching them for a while, but about every other one was real wormy. I don't know what does that to them, but they were like real wormy.
Like to the point where like
The fish looked healthy.
Yeah.
You know, and they say you can eat them, it doesn't bother it, whatever. I don't.
Yeah.
But I mean, to the point they were just knobby all over.
Yeah. If you were a bank fisherman for catfish right now,
Yeah.
is there a bank bite anywhere to be had, or?
I seen a bunch back at Spurfoot Creek today. An hour I was there. There's a bunch of guys back there. 4 or 5 trucks.
Bank fishing.
Yeah, 4 or 5 trucks full.
They're usually always in there. Yeah. Oh yeah, that's a good spot. You know, there's good fishing down the end of Sea Highway down there in Tebow Creek. You can get in there and fish from the bank right in the creek, which is pretty close, right where I was talking about. You know, and
Find somewhere where
any kind of flat with close to a drop of some sort. These swim beaches, since we're not going to have really swim beaches anymore, those are good wintertime spots. I don't know. Is there going to be a swim beach open on Truman this year?
I don't know.
Due to what?
I don't know.
COVID?
Huh?
What's?
No, they just the core. I think are just kind of
Gotcha.
weeding them out. Maybe I don't know. But like Sparefoot Swim Beach is shut down. Then Windsor Crossing Swim Beach is shut down. I don't think that one across from Long Shoals turnoff was open. I think it was locked up. So I don't know, but those are good flat areas. You know, kind of pick the swim beach where the wind's blowing onto. Great spot to bank fish. Great spot.
Interesting.
Especially in the winter.
Yeah. Can you get in a crappie from the bank right now, or is that kind of a gotta be in a boat type of deal?
Corey, maybe?
Deepwater Creek, maybe. Tebow Creek, maybe.
There's been a little bit of bite in Tebow Creek or Deepwater Creek.
You know, but there's not a lot of. I mean, down at the bluffs and stuff. You know.
If you were fishing crappie from a bank, you would probably be fishing with a bobber, I assume.
Slip cord.
Yeah.
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 Yeah, dead channel. A lot of fish in the dead water down there. I know they were catching a lot of whites and hybrids. I seen one guy was even talking about caught some walleye down there
I
today.
saw a walleye today. It was caught down there. Big walleye.
Below the dam?
Yeah.
I didn't see that.
It's February, baby. That's
I know.
the month.
Time of year.
Walleye month.
The problem is, because I've gone down there trying to throw those real slow-moving swim baits and jerk baits. And
Long Johns. Orange and white.
I'm just telling you, I freaking get snagged either on a rock or a freaking fishing line on every single cast. Like, I don't know how you get around that, but that's been my experience down there, unfortunately. So, it's tough.
Yeah.
Although I will say, I went down there not too long ago, like in the last month, just messing around, and I had a big white spinnerbait. It was the first bass that I'd caught. There was Kentucky, just bam, right by the freaking bank on spinnerbait in December. So that was the highlight for me.
One time,
because I'd always had a bad outing down there.
it's been a long time. I'm gonna say it's probably been 20 years ago. I was down there, went fishing, me and a buddy, and we were throwing like big curly tails, trying to catch walleye or hybrids or whatever. So we're down there, we're throwing, and get bit, set the hook, man, drag starts screaming, I'm tight, spools me. I'm like, well, crap. So switch rods, happens again. Happens to him twice. Well, we don't have any poles of line on him now. So we had 2 poles apiece. So we go back home, next day we make a plan, we're gonna tighten her up here a little bit. We had drags tightened down, we put on bigger line, went back down there, same thing. You get bit, pow, gone. You couldn't hold on to them. To this day, I have no idea what we had a hold of dinner. We did it like 3 days in a row. And I finally went to braid. They were still just taking it on. You couldn't cinch it down tight enough.
What the heck?
And I don't know if it was big hybrids. Of course, we was using like medium action 8-footers, you know, trying to catch walleye and stuff. It wasn't like we were using big catfish poles or anything. But like, I mean, it's not a story. I'm sure it was like 10-pound hybrids or maybe catfish or something. But we couldn't turn them. Not with the medium action tackle we had.
Yeah. What time of year was it, you said?
I'm going to say probably close to this time, February, March.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was springtime.
Huh.
But it was like, you know, I didn't fish down there below the dam that much at that point in time. And we just couldn't figure it out. It was like, but it had us going, you know, it's like, we're going to get it. Every day we would go bigger line or whatever. And finally went to all braid, you know, it's like, we got to get them now. You know?
So you never even saw them make a boil. You never saw the fish.
Never even turned them around, dude. It was like somebody on the other side was hooking it to a truck and driving off.
What the hell?
Like you cast out there, boom, sit. Oh crap, gone.
Man,
That was it. I mean that quick too.
Yeah.
Like you think you got this many yards of line on there, it's going to take a while for a fish to get it. It don't take very long to get spooled.
Man. Jeremy Wade, you know, River Monsters guy, came up a while ago, and you guys obviously saw the episode where the man-eating catfish.
And I'm not going to say they're not there, but I'm going to say it's a Sasquatch deal for me. I don't think there's catfish down there as big as Volkswagen.
Oh, it hypes up. They hype up because Steve Brown is a buddy of ours, the one who took him out and was telling us all kinds of stories of the stuff that they would hype up on that. But sounds like that would have been a really good interview to do with you. That would have really added to the drama of the episode.
Well, I tell you what, it's the dangest thing to me. I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm sure it was hybrids or catfish or whatever. And we didn't have the tackle to suffice.
Yeah. I know on that
It
trip.
was pretty awesome. We really thought we were going to get something big.
Freaking hey, man, that's quite a story. I know that when he was up there, they were there for 3 or 4 days trying to get the monster, and they caught the hell out of fish, and they finally caught like a 50-pounder down there, and that's what like kind of made the show.
Yeah.
They dramatized the hell out of it.
Yeah.
Like he does with everything. Yeah.
Well, we're talking 20 plus years ago when I was, late teens. And so it was a learning thing for me. I'll tell you another funny story about the dam since we're telling funny stories. I don't know. I could drive, but not very long driving.
Yeah.
And of course, snagging spoonbill's been a thing forever around here. And so we go down, we're going to go open a night, me and a buddy and a couple other guys. We go down on the boat at Warsaw, and we're ready at midnight and everything. You know, we snag down the river, snag back, snag all night to daylight. We didn't catch crap. And I was like, man, this is terrible. So we go back, and two of my buddies take the boat, and they get out there, and me and another buddy jump in my truck. We throw rods in the back or whatever, and we drive down. And I was like, let's go down the dam and see if anybody's catching any down there. So we go down the dam. I'm like, dude, there's nobody snagging down here. Like I said, I'm like 16. I'm like, let's grab around, go down, throw out first cast, boom, get a spoonbill. It's a keeper, Throw it back in the truck, call my dad, get home, and a landline, and talk to my dad. I'm like, man, didn't catch crap all night long, but went down the dam, caught one on first cast. He's like, you idiot, you can't snag above 55 fish.
Yep.
I was just a dumb kid, didn't know no different,
Right.
No
wonder what
happened. Then I had to make some phone calls to other people. I was like, hey, I messed up.
Right. Yeah. That's pretty hilarious.
But yeah, I was like, man, there wasn't nobody down there fishing. Caught one on first cast. My dad, God rest his soul, he's like, you're such a dipstick.
You dumbass. That's funny. Speaking of hybrids and white bass, is there any kind of bite like that going on Truman other than some below the dam?
I got on a bunch of them down by LT2 about a week and a half ago, and I mean a bunch of them.
Yeah.
To the point where I had to leave.
Oh.
There's all good ones, but we was trying to catch crappie, and you couldn't catch crappie because the white bass taking over.
Yeah. And they were just in and around the shed and...
Yep. And I mean, for acres, white bass.
Huh. Just hitting your crappie jigs.
Minnows,
Okay.
that's spider rigging.
Gotcha.
That's even worse.
Friggin' lines going all over the place.
Get one on all 8 poles, sometimes 2.
Oh my gosh. Wow.
Couldn't get them out of the water quick enough.
That's freaking fun, though. I mean, yeah.
Yeah, if you're fishing for them,
Right.
have one pole, but we got.
You don't want a
16
spider
hooks.
rig for it.
Yeah. I can imagine. So kind of getting back to some of the ice stuff, just kind of got me thinking, especially for first-time boat owners that maybe are picking up a boat here in the next couple months, but especially now in the next couple weeks, that are going to be getting out there and excited to get on the water when it's cold and there's ice. I mean, what are some of the safety things to keep in mind on the ramp specifically when you're dealing with putting a boat in?
Do not unhook your cable on top of the ramp and back down with it sitting on the trailer with no cable.
Make sure you're first.
Yeah, don't be second. If you're, here's a good point. If you're the first one, second, third, when you start pulling out, don't run up the ramp.
Mm-hmm.
Ease up, let that trailer drain back into the water. Because if you just take off, you're leaving all that water on the ramp, and about the third one, trucking off. It's just a sheet of ice.
I mean, there's nothing you can do about it.
I got a bag of salt in the back of my truck right now.
Salt and sand, yeah, carry that. I was, years ago, I was on T-boat, Windsor Crossing this time of year, John Mangum, bull on China cabinet, rest his soul. I pulled my boat, I had a 21-foot Hawk, and it was a Cadillac. Prettiest boat as I've ever seen. And we fished today, and it got real cold. I shut it up on there, and I just waved him up, wasn't thinking. Got up there and winched it on. So we're going to fish the next day, and of course it was real cold that day, so it was already the months were ice. Next day I unhooked on top, and this 21-foot boat didn't have a scratch on it. He got about halfway down Windsor Crossing boat ramp and hit the brakes. Shtook. Right on the ramp I was.
Oh my
The whole boat
gosh.
wasn't even touching the water.
Oh my gosh.
He got out and said, "We're in a pickle now." Didn't even get to go fishing yet.
Yeah. Wow.
All you do then is shove it in.
Yeah, we
That's all you
just,
can
he
do.
would back up to it and kind of pick up on it. I'd winch a little bit more, and then pretty soon got kind of teetering, but I tore the back end of the boat up.
Yikes. So, say you didn't do that and you were just going to, I mean, how do they even get that up? Do you call somebody and what's the process? Or you just have to push it into the water?
Shove it in and get out of the way, yeah. I seen a good friend of ours, great crappie fisherman. I was working at Bucksaw, and I was up on the hill. We all know who this is. He's got a 22-foot champion at that time, I believe he had. And he's got more energy than all of us put together. Man, he ran that boat up there and took off up the ramp and shoot, boat right on the ramp. And I heard some good words. And I stood over there until he got done throwing a fit before I came over to him. All he done was shove his back in the water.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So calling somebody to like get it on the trailer, that's like not an option.
No, you gotta get
You don't have time. I mean, you
Yeah.
got people waiting to put
Yeah.
the boat in or take the boat out. Or
Yeah, and then you gotta get tractors and stuff to get the boat up, which we have had to do at Bucksaw.
Yeah.
I just
That's usually when somebody leaves the plug out. So when you got to get the tractor or something like that is when they don't put the plug in. They back down. They're goofing around. Then they realize that they haven't put the plug in, but they've already unhooked the nose. So then they pull out. Well, now the back end of the boat's full of water. So when they don't hook the nose and they go to pull out, then all the weight comes back like this. So now you got a boat that's drained. You got to wait till all the water drains out before you can even try to get it back on the truck or in the water.
Yeah, and always when you pull out, if it's cold, make sure you put your motor down, let it drain, pull the plug, make sure your live well's drained. And I always, if my boat's going to sit like this week, it's not going to be in the heat, I'll take a gallon of antifreeze, RV antifreeze, and pour right in the live wells. It don't hurt them a bit, and to keep them pumps from freezing.
Good to know.
Yeah.
So, in addition to some of the courtesy things, letting your water drain, maybe having some bags of ice and stuff laying around. I mean, it sounds like those are all pretty standard common sense stuff to be doing. What about
When you come out, like he said, trim your motor down, fire it up.
Fired up a minute.
Just
And when you do, you're going to see all the water go out of it real quick. You don't have to run it. Don't run it, but fire it up. And that blows all that water out of that lower unit.
Gotcha.
Or not the lower unit, but out of the
Yeah.
motor. Where the water pump and everything is.
Yeah.
One other thing with your big motor, start it and let it idle for a long time. Let that thermostat's open. So if you take off too quick, it's a cold water or something. It blows your motor up if you shove a bunch of cold water in there real quick. So let it sit and idle around, whatever, before you ever take off for a good while. I blow them up, I know.
4-strokes aren't quite as bad as the old 2-strokes was, but yeah.
Let them warm up.
like 10, 15 minutes warm up, 20, 30?
10 minutes.
Yeah. Okay. So
don't back it down, because this is what everybody does. They back it down. They get in their boat. They fire it up. And then they reverse. You know, and it's been running for like 15 seconds. You know, start up, let it idle, let it warm up a little bit, then back it off the trailer. You know, or back your trailer in far enough where it floats a little bit, where you can fire it up and just kind of put it in gear, let it idle off. Don't back it down where you gotta whoa, trying to get it off the trailer.
right.
My Ranger boat had it's called a smart gauge in it. And I could start it and I could watch it heating up, you know, on the thermostat, so I could see it go up to, I don't remember, 200 degrees, whatever they get to, 180. And I could tell when they open, then it would go right back down to where it needs to be, and then I knew it was water going through it. Then I knew I could go, but I haven't had it on a boat since, but that was a very good gauge to have in the winter.
Yeah. So what about like when you're on the water, what are some of the things that you might be doing differently a little bit safety wise in the wintertime versus in the summertime, if anything? Other than maybe having a change of clothes or extra warm stuff.
Make sure your life jackets and your throw cushion is right handy.
Yeah.
Or on.
Yeah.
They're on, yeah.
Because, you know, you can get dragging fish in the boat or mineral water sloshing or whatever, and you get a little bit of ice on the gunnel or whatever, you know, and then somebody, inevitably, as we all know, if you got a fiberglass boat, people are standing on the deck, they want to put their foot right on the gunnel. And, you know, you get ice on that or whatever, somebody puts their foot up there and, and they go in.
Is there any tricks to the trade of keeping your the eyes on your rod from freezing up?
Dip them in the water all the time.
Yeah.
Only if they're already freezing up. I'm huge on keep them out of the water at all costs.
Yeah.
Like, if you don't let them hit the water, generally you won't have that much problem. But once they get wet, dip it in the water.
That's what you got to do. Huh?
Yeah. With that braided line, though, if you're pitching all the time and you're pulling that line through, it's got all that microfibers on it. You're building ice all the time.
Yeah, makes sense.
Yeah, just dip it in the water, and when you dip it in the water, shake it. Let all that pop off of there, then make your next pitch.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it's going to go about here to that window.
Yeah.
It's a waste of pitch.
Stop. Yep. So when it comes to staying warm right now, especially the next couple weeks, I mean, obviously having the hand warmers. I know you have a little buddy heater that you take out with you.
Buddy heater, and one of the best things the kids ever bought me for Christmas, and they bought me the 3.0 Under Armour. Man, that stuff for a base layer, is nothing better.
Really?
Yep.
But
Cody's got those striker suits down there at Cody's Bait and Tackle that are pretty legit.
I bought one of them. That's the Cat's yeah.
And they will actually help.
They float.
Yeah.
They float.
Yeah.
They're a flotation
The one I
suit.
bought, it's got the liner inside it as well, the extreme code, and I wore that one time, and I've been out on some cold days. I had to take it out because it was too warm. I had too many clothes under it.
Yeah.
So now that I just wear just the rain suit without the liner in it.
Wow.
But they are good. They keep you warm
Yeah.
and dry.
Yeah. Dylan, you were talking about a pretty nice little deal that you got recently.
Yeah, I got a heated coat from Everhart's here in town. Like Richard was saying, I wear the Under Armour 3.0, and then I got like another little. It's a Sitka actually with a hood, and then I wear that coat, and that's pretty much all I wear now.
Yeah.
With that, and it's been cold.
Yeah.
Cold and windy, but I can, even without it even turned on, it's warm, but you turn it on high and you're starting to sweat.
Yeah. I mean, geez Louise.
So
Seems like a no-brainer if you're going to be fishing, especially as much as you guys do, or even a couple of times a month in the wintertime. Seems like a pretty good investment to
yeah,
me.
it does.
Yeah.
I wish they'd make boots like that.
Yeah.
They make insoles. Heated insoles now.
I've tried some of those. I've never. I don't know. Maybe I couldn't feel it because I was so cold that it was. I didn't have good luck with them.
Well, you know, there's a super fine line between your feet sweating and
Right.
getting cold,
Yeah.
or just being cold from being cold.
Right.
You know, and you have to find that middle of the road.
Right.
I wear my tennis shoes most days.
Yeah.
Fishing, but I got wool sock, 2 pairs of wool socks, actually a real thin pair, liner pair of wool socks, and then a heavy pair, and then I just slip my tennis shoes on, and that's all I wear. And most people are like, "How are your feet not freezing?" I'm like, "Good socks."
Yeah.
Yeah,
Good
I like
socks.
those heat holders.
Those were I wear some of those too. Wear a liner under those
sure.
and then
Yeah,
put those on.
yeah. I wear a thin pair of just regular Gildan white socks, and then I put a my heat holder socks on.
Mm-hmm.
They're black, and the inside of them feels like a long-haired cat.
They're like, you can't hardly get your tennis shoes on.
Yeah,
Right?
they're kind of thick.
Yeah.
You know? But man, they're warm.
That's freaking awesome.
Where you get them at?
Everhard's.
Oh, they got them?
Yeah, they got those too.
I'd try something.
Trip to Everhard tomorrow.
I don't know if they've
Yeah,
been
because
there.
it's probably going to be off.
They're not high. What are they? $12 or something? I mean, they're
I
not
think so.
high. They're pretty nice socks.
Yeah.
And I wear those with the smuck boots.
Yeah.
You know, toasty toes. You know, hand warmers go a long ways.
Mhm.
Man, them don't, to me don't work that good in my boot very long. Gotta have the air to them or something.
Yeah, that's what my experience has been.
At first they're pretty good, but then after they kind of die out, you gotta take your boot off. And
I open mine and at the house and get them cranking in my coat pockets, and then when I get ready to go, then I throw them in my boots. And once they're already cranking, it seems like they work better than trying to open them, get them cranking, and throw them in there.
It always seems like every time I put them in the jacket that
They get hotter than fire.
Yeah, well, so here's what I've noticed, especially when I'm hunting, that like it's not quite as warm as I want it to be, but then as soon as I'm done, I put my hands in there like,
It'll burn you.
damn, that's what I've
Or
been
you
wanting the whole
You
time.
feel a warm spot on it, and you're like,
Yes.
that's burning me through my jacket.
Yeah, I'm like, what the hell? Now I'm done and whatever. But
Yeah.
kind of funny, just something I've noticed that happens. So
Good socks, though. I mean, you don't want to overdo it. You start putting on too many pairs of
You don't want
socks, or
Sweat.
then you
Sweat,
start
and it's
getting
worse.
sweat, and then it's worse.
what do you guys do facial protection wise when you're running down the lake in this freaking ultra cold weather? I mean, what anything special?
My beautiful bride buys that fleece material at Walmart,
Mm-hmm.
and she makes me these double stacked neck gaiters.
Mm.
And you keep that from going down the front of your shirt or the back of your shirt. That's the cat's meow.
Yeah.
I got that Sitka shirt, like I said, and it's got a hood on it that zips up, and you can zip it up like that.
Yeah.
I've also got a pair of snowboard goggles or whatever that you
Yeah.
throw on.
Yeah. Those seem like a must
Mhm.
right now.
Yeah, I
I'm
wear the
going
clear,
real fast.
clear glasses.
Mm-hmm.
Keeps my eyes from
Keeps
water.
from water.
But I got to walk through windshields, so it's pretty nice.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, heck yeah. So we've talked about February, kind of what it's been doing. What do we expect? I mean, obviously it's going to be cold. There's probably going to be a very limited amount of fishing the next week or two. What do
Yeah.
we expect fishing to, the activity to turn into as we move through February towards March? On the crappie, catfish.
Crappie wise, it'll be some of the best you'll encounter
It'll
all
be
year.
on.
Mm.
On fire.
Every single creek's gonna be loaded in the back and be loaded
Back
with
in the
boats.
crease.
Lines go back.
We're gonna sound like a bunch of Yankee Northers being like, "Well, as soon as ice out."
Mm-hmm.
That's gonna be as good as February and March is about as two good a month as you're gonna have.
Yeah.
So as soon as this ice comes off, it's gonna be even with them creeks icing up, and fish are not gonna leave the creeks now. They're
Yeah.
there for the spawn.
Yeah.
Catfish will be the same way. We get all this ice and stuff off these creeks, they start getting runoff and
Mhm.
everything. It'll be lights out.
Yeah. So the crappie, when they get in the backs of those creeks, I mean, they'll be fairly shallow.
Oh yeah, they'll be. You know, you'll have days that are gonna be. We've been catching some 2 foot on the surface now.
Mhm.
You'll catch a lot of fish 3 to 5 foot deep
Mm-hmm.
in 12-foot water.
Wow.
You know, that live scope, we've been showing everybody. It's amazing right now, like he was talking 3 or 5 and 10, whatever, how many different depths, even big crappie,
Mhm.
same size as crappie. One's way up here, the next one's way down there. And that fish will bite, and then you drop on that deep one and it'll bite.
Mm-hmm.
But they're so different in the water column right now.
Mm-hmm.
Today, it seemed like there was 3 depths. They were that 2 to 3, and then they were at 10 to 12, and they were down there at 18 to 20. And all of them, you could get every one of them to bite. You get close to it, and he'd come get it. Didn't matter what depth he was at.
And you were throwing your hair jigs today?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's what I was throwing, Dylan stock and hair jig.
Yeah. But is there, here the last few days especially, I mean, is one or the other better than the other? Minnows or?
Any of them baits right there, which they work all year round, but any
Yeah.
of them baits, Dylan's baits, no, get in front of them, they're going to eat it.
Yeah.
Just don't have too heavy a jig on, it's going to fall too fast in front of them.
So 16th ounce, you think?
For them shallow fish,
Yeah.
yeah.
That was kind of a big talk over the weekend at Grizzly. It was just in passing, talking to people, you know. It's like, man, this big deal with like the hair jig thing now, you know, everybody's fishing hair jigs. Do you feel that the crappie are eating the hair jig any better than any other jig, or is it just the fact you don't have to mess with a rubber bait and you never have to change it?
What I like about it, you put it right in front of the live scope, and it sits there and pulsates. It's like a minnow swim in that hair jig. Now, if you put a rubber bait in there, it don't have that. You're just trying to hold it still as you can hold it. So it's got a little more action, just hold it still.
I think downsize. I throw a 32nd ounce hair.
Whether it's plastic or whether it's hair.
Well, I always use it. I've never used a plastic 32nd ounce jig before, but hair jig I have. And it seems like they see it a lot better to me.
I grew up on Table Rock, and that's all they had back then, the hair jigs.
Yeah. That was kind of like the consensus down there was if you put it in front of them, they're pretty well going to eat it depending on what color it was. Just a lot of people are using a hair jig because you don't have to mess with plastic. It's already tied on. You're never going to change it until you lose it.
Mm-hmm.
Don't put it on a 10-pound braid and try another color. You got to cut it. That's all you got to do. I tried 2 colors. They don't work equally.
And you do straight braid. There's no like leader at all.
Straight braid on the jigs, and on my hook and sinker rig, I use 10-pound. What's it called? It's some kind of new line. I can't remember the name of it. But yeah, it's got to have the mono on the hook and the sinker. Jig braided line.
Are you talking about the K9?
No, it's I'll think of it in a minute.
Monofilament.
It's monofilament, yeah. We already ordered it online. I mean, it's not brand new. But it's something that I've never seen in a store around here.
Huh.
Are there any colors in particular that seem to be more productive than others right now on the jigs?
I think we used 4 or 5 different colors from one end of the spectrum to the other.
Black to white.
Yeah.
We went from black and pink to white and pink to all chartreuse, and
Yeah.
you get close to them and they're coming and getting it.
Yeah. So the jig bite, when does that start to die down? Are you using jigs all through February, March? When do you start switching over to the minnow?
Summertime.
Summertime. Yeah.
Post spawn.
When it's not so brutal to put your hand in them in a bucket.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Well, good to know. Jeff, so you were just starting to talk about it a little bit on the weekend down at the Grizzly Jig Show. Why don't you tell us a little bit about some of the stuff you were seeing down there?
Yeah, Grizzly Jig, Wade, Louie, Lance Manfield, all those guys. It's a family operation down there. They've got a new building that they've just moved in. And I don't remember how many thousands of square feet it was, but it was huge. And if it had to do with crappie fishing or has to do with crappie fishing, they've got it.
Yeah.
Every brand, every hook, every jig body,
Bobber.
every bobber. Yeah, you can still buy quills. I don't know if you guys ever fished with quills or not, but you can still buy quills down there. I was looking at them this weekend. Boat seats, terminal tackle, nets, anything that has to do with crappie fishing, they have it.
Yeah.
And it's super, super, super cool. Hopefully, eventually, they're going to get that into like 3 or 4 shows a year.
Yeah.
But this was the Uno.
Are they talking about doing it always down at their place, or are they going to?
Oh,
okay.
Yeah. Yeah, there's no better place.
Right.
They have a really nice seminar room. They call it church, crappie church. A really nice seminar room, all decorated up. It's something to see. It's really, you should put it on your calendar. To go check it out.
Yeah.
It's unlike anything else.
So, what were some of like the more interesting, maybe people you heard speak, or anything that kind of stood out to you as far as maybe something you learned that you thought was intriguing, or?
That was one of the main things. That kind of, everything crappie fishing now has just come to a whole different world. Everything that people thought they knew about crappie fishing has changed with live scope, and so with everybody now, it's been out long enough that everybody's starting to get on that same page. So I guess one thing you could say is the conversation got a little more bland. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, it wasn't everybody's doing the same thing. No guy's really any more superior than the other because you all have the same tools now. Crappie can't hide.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You just gotta get to eat. And so that's what there's a lot of talk about, like the plastics versus hair jig and stuff like that. Size, like Hunter was saying, there's guys talking about fishing 32nd, 64s, stuff like that. There's some new products out. I was asking about that K9 because I didn't know nothing about it, but I seen them down there, the owner of that company, K9 Fishing Line. A lot of new rods out. There's Todd Huckabee rods that I work with, they have 13 and 14 foot rod that they live scope with. There's rod companies that's got 16 and 18 and 20 footers coming.
Goodness gracious.
I don't get it. That's beyond me.
He's that far out there to even have it.
Yeah.
I'll move on to a different fish.
So I get it up. I get it up to about 16 feet. I get that. But you get beyond that. I mean, I know it takes an experienced angler myself, and I'm not even very good at it. But I run 14s. But I mean, it takes some practice to run a 16 footer. But you get beyond that, right? What's the point? Because you can. I mean, Eric Cagle won the national championship casting a 6 footer. You know what I mean? I don't really understand the point of an 18 and 20 foot fishing rod. Number one, you can't hardly haul it.
You can't fit 12 piece.
You have to take a trailer.
Longer than your boat.
Yeah.
Is it because literally people are worried about spooking fish that much? So that's what it is.
Shallow fish. And you do.
Yeah, you do. And there's some of them fish like on the upper grand. You can't cast them fish and make them fish bite. It's
But
just
Todd and I are talking about
too dirty of water.
why can't you cast slip cork to them?
Oh, you could. You could.
What would be the difference?
Because a lot of people's not.
That'd be a lot of work for some.
Yeah.
They'd rather just buy a 20-foot pole.
But then once you get it,
Yeah.
I mean, we're talking these fish are 3 foot under the surface.
Right.
What do I do now?
You have to have a good drag and run a lot of line off to get it to you. Yeah, today I showed them guys in the boat. That's one of the things I showed them is just stepping in the boat.
Oh yeah, they were.
Oh yeah.
Even fish were 10 foot deep with
Mhm.
the rod.
You can see several.
I know there's music in my boat. I always play music, that'll scare fish off.
Stepping in the boat, closing the cooler lid when you throw a
If you
fish
drop
in
the
there.
cooler lid or your live well lid, you might as well go to the next creek. That's spooked them all.
You think it has the same effect on bass?
Oh, for sure.
I'd imagine so, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, whenever I turn on music and something get loud, I'll see crappie shoot. No, it's unreal.
So just when you thought they were attracted to noise,
That's what I thought,
I was at a seminar years ago, but it's one of those things that just stuck out of my mind. I can't even tell you who was giving the seminar, but I remember him talking about it. Was talking about crappie around a dock.
Yeah.
And the crappie were out away from the dock. And they were in the water under scuba, and watching these fish. And a mom and dad and 2 little kids. The kids was running down the dock, and then crappie came right to that
Well,
dock.
them fish were trained because that was eating time.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
That's true.
That's what that was.
Yeah.
That's true.
Yeah. So this just popped up a topic in my mind, just kind of spur of the moment, but got me thinking it might be kind of funny. Some of the pet peeves, some of the fishing pet peeves in your boat, like another angler in your boat. Like, what are some of the worst things that you can do as a fellow angler?
Step in your seat.
Yeah.
That's a good one.
I don't have to worry about that anymore. But these guys with bass boats, when I had a bass boat, man, it's always people stepping in your
Stepping in
seat.
Yeah.
your seat. I don't come to your house and step in your couch. So.
Right. Right.
How about that hawk boat I had? It's kind of cherry red. It's a beautiful boat, and I don't like people to put their feet on my gunnel. And they'll rest that foot there, and they got rock in their boot.
Mm-hmm.
So I kind of shim away. But on this boat, I made little tags. Please do not put your feet on gunnel. And I took tape,
Yeah.
clear tape, and I taped that down on both sides, and up
They
the
put their
front,
foot on them.
and on the back. No, they didn't. But it was pretty good. They didn't do it ever. I did that, but I had some little marks there from boots. And after I got ready to get rid of that boat, I pulled that tape up. So where I pulled the tape up, it was a different color. So I screwed myself. Sure did.
That's kind of crazy.
Yeah, just stepping in your seat and stepping back there where they need to go take a leak and step on your steering.
Steering
Oh, your
rods.
cable. Yeah, don't do that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That's not, most people, 95% of people are pretty conscientious.
Yeah.
But you're going to have people, treat my stuff like it's your stuff.
Yeah.
Kind of. Don't mistreat my stuff like it's your stuff. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And I'm not necessarily even talking about clients. I'm talking about you're fishing with your buddies and your buddies just being dumb and doing something stupid. For me, it's funny because when I was David and Ryan, we talked about this. I'm usually the one getting everybody out of snags out here on our pontoon boat. When I'm with David, fishing in the back of the boat, we're moving pretty fast. I don't know. I get snagged more than I've ever been in my life fishing with David Ryan. It's freaking annoying. I'm that guy. I'm getting snagged. I'm like, hey man, I need to back it up. I don't want to lose your $50 bait that you're letting me throw.
Yeah, that's part of it.
Yeah.
It's just not being out there every day doing it.
Yeah.
You know, we're gonna go fishing, and if we lose a jig or two in a day's time, that's
Right.
but to take clients dip in the same brush piles.
Right. Oh,
It's a feel. You know? There's nothing you can do about that. But
Yeah, if you're not getting hung up most of the time, you're not going to
Yeah, you're not in where. Yeah, absolutely.
So that's just part of it.
If me and Jeff's out fishing, he gets hung up. I kick mine on 100%.
go high, go further,
Yeah.
He's out of
go
line.
fast.
That's not getting hung up. Now you can see what them fish do when you're getting hung up, and people want to sit there and jerk it and jerk it and jerk it, and all them fish are just going. I'm like, no, just pull it and break it. I'll tie one on. There's 20 fish on that tree.
Yeah.
I was trolling with Sam. I was down in Lamar City Lake down in southwest Missouri over the late summer, and we were just trolling some little crankbaits. And I had one of these. It had that Mr. Crappie 6-pound line, which is like the toughest 6-pound line I've ever used. But I didn't have a lot on there. It was like maybe 30, 40 yards. Needed way more. It was on its last legs, but she got snagged and couldn't open it in time. But the Mr. Crappie line floated, so I turned around, got it, tied it back on, and away we went. We got it back. So it all worked out.
I've lost poles over the side.
Uh-huh.
You know, like you said, you lost a pole the other day. Good thing they float.
I would say most of them float.
Yeah.
Just finding it when it's windy. Right there's right by you when you probably seen me do that big U-turn up by the quarry.
Mm-hmm.
I went all the way back in the quarry looking, and right
Oh,
where
yeah,
I had
I
it,
was like,
what's
you
he
did. You
doing?
came down there and then you like spun around. And I was like,
Right where I counted poles on both sides because I was rigging,
Mm-hmm.
and I had like 12 poles, and I seen only 3 over there. I said, "Is there no 4 poles over there?" I just seen it. Mike said 3. I said, "What'd you do with it?" He's bundled up. Well, you can see this. I know he's sleeping.
Right.
I think he probably knocked it off, not knowing.
Mm-hmm.
I said, "Man, my pole's gone." I just whipped around, went straight back to the quarry, which idle all the way up throughout the quarry. It's gone, and come back right. I can see on my graph where I turned my mapping where I turned around, and there it was floating.
Oh.
That's what I didn't run over it. Another thing about that life scope, I'm gonna go catch it too. There's a pocket real close to the marina,
Yeah.
and I was on a trip about a week and a half ago. There's a 14-foot pole. I can count every eye on it. It's on the bottom of the lake because it's got a heavy reel on it and it's sticking straight up. I count every eye, and the guy said, "How you know that's a fishing pole?" So I stuck mine in. I said, "Yep, that's a fishing pole." You can see all the eyes. It's right below the marina in that pocket, it's sticking straight
Wow.
up.
There's a cell phone in there too.
those are hard to see when they're on the bottom.
Man, the other thing I don't like is when people catch fish and they try to get that fish in, they walk the rod back and they've got a hold of the rod
Right
about
by
2 or
the tip.
3 foot from the tip
Oh.
with the fish on it.
Yeah.
Like, don't. You know, they're not made for that.
Right.
Got it reeled all the way to the top.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. And then they grab it, 6 inches from the tip because they reeled it too high.
Uh-huh.
And it's just because they don't know,
Mm.
but we've all watched that rod break 10
Yep.
times.
Mm-hmm.
I got a broken one in my boat now because I reeled it up, or I brought up my power poles. Hooked a
Oh.
big pole, it's a 4-piece now. Still in there.
One of the dumbest things that I am guilty of, I don't know what it is about me not being able to keep my hat on when running down the lake, but oh my gosh. With
Oh.
David Ryan
I'll
again.
lose 3 a year.
Freaking. My gosh darn it. Just.
Feel like such a noob.
Yeah, 100%. I'm like, I swear, I'm not. Like, my goodness gracious. It's just too funny. But yeah, I've had that happen several times and turn around and there it is floating. So, but anyway, well, we're getting to be right at about an hour, guys. So I guess one thing that might be kind of fun to end on, we've told a few stories, but maybe just a couple other fun stories from years past, maybe in the wintertime, fishing related on Truman Lake, maybe hunting related. I don't really care. Just kind of curious if anything comes to mind this time of year, memories, any clients or special times with family.
Man, we've had so much good fun in February and March,
Mhm.
rigging these fish. There's too many good times to count. He's talking about fishing with your buddies, and him and my dad, we were in Richard's boat,
Mm-hmm.
and it was around the end of March, 1st of April, because my dad and Richard's birthdays on the same day,
Mm-hmm.
and it was right around their birthdays. We were spider rigging in this creek, and they were both sitting up front up there catching fish, and I was sitting in Richard's back seat with the 2 live well lids open in the middle bucket. So they catch fish, swing a rod around, I take fish off, drop it in the live well, hook them in on. They just keep on going. And we do this, and they're just catching fish after fish after fish. They're up there visiting and enjoying. I told them, I said, you guys could at least turn around and look at me once in a while. At least acknowledge that I'm here. They wouldn't even look. They just catch fish. Put it right back in the deal.
Yeah.
It was a good time. One of them I won't forget. It was a good time.
And easy.
Yeah.
Probably one of the neatest things that I did years ago. D. Borum, we all know D, and kind of a bull and china cabinet guy. And he had his boat parked outside and was going to take his skeeter boat, and it had about 6 inches of snow on it. So we left that snow on it and backed it in the water, and he kept it stored there at Bucksaw. And instead of using live wells, we'd catch a fish, we was rigging, catch a fish and just throw it in the snow.
Yeah.
So that's pretty cool. We didn't have to get up and
Yeah.
it was stuck in the snow. That made a good picture at the end of the day.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. That's reminiscent of some ice fishing.
Oh, yes,
With
yep.
throwing it on the ice.
It snowed one time on May 4th. I don't know if you guys remember it. It was around 2000, I'm going to say 2012, 2013. It snowed on the 4th of May. And I mean, it snowed deep.
Yep,
And
blizzard.
I had some dudes out, and we were scraping the snow to be able to find the edge of the live well to put fish in it.
That's pretty
And then
cool.
I had a client there. That was the last week of turkey season, and we shot a gobbler in the snow.
Really?
I'm going to show you a picture right now. Mike Bandman, him and I followed the snowplow out. It was like the last day of turkey season or close to it. From Clinton, I was going to Urick to up there where I hunt. And the snow was this deep. I said, there ain't going to be no turkey. And we got in our blind, had a blind up. I want to pull that blind out was one reason I did this. And I done the old fight out, got him fired up. He come in strutting in 6 inches of snow, and I shot him. As
Wow.
soon as here it is. No, that ain't it. I'll show you a picture. He sent it to me today.
Yeah, David Daly was a friend of mine from Louisiana. Come up, and we got that big old snow, and I was like, he's killed gobblers in the snow because he goes to like South Dakota and those areas. And I was like, dude, I ain't never hunted no turkeys in the snow before. And yeah, it was just like a picture perfect spring hunt coming in and strutting the whole deal in the snow.
That's crazy.
I put something on there, some blurb. This is, it'll tell you on there when it was. Something about global warming.
You're right.
That's what I put on.
Right.
That was pretty cool.
Pretty neat. Pretty picture.
That's cool. I'd love to do that in Missouri.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
It was like, it had to be like 2012 or something like that.
2000, does that say 13 or 12?
13.
13.
Okay, so yeah,
Yeah.
2013.
We're getting pictures already. Been having pictures of them strutting around since mid-December.
I heard them gobbling.
I heard them calling
Yeah.
yesterday.
Yeah.
Yeah, they were gobbling during duck season. Pretty regular down there at my duck lake.
Yeah. Speaking of, I know there's a lot of ducks on Truman right now.
Oh.
Are geese using Truman?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
There's some.
Yeah, there's some.
Well, I guess Saturday's the last day for Canada's. Do the snows and blues get on Truman very much?
No.
Yeah.
They did in October.
Yeah.
October this year, they were in there thick, but
Mm.
it was just an early migration, weird
Yeah.
type of deal.
Seems like you go over just a little west towards Adrian, that area, when they're flying back, and you can
Yeah.
get in the fields over there.
Yeah.
You don't get those, but
Yes, sir. But there's I don't know. We're just getting ready to, as many fish we've been catching for us. It's just another week or another month or another day, But for a lot of people, I mean, it's gonna be into the good stuff.
Mhm.
They look. A lot of folks love to fish in March and April. And
Yeah.
they're ready to pitch banks and.
Mhm.
We thought last year was busy because the spawn was on during COVID, and shoot, you couldn't park another truck at a boat ramp anywhere on Truman
Yeah.
Lake.
All year.
I got a feeling we're in for it again.
Mhm.
I'd say,
Well, good for the area.
Oh yeah, and good for everybody to be out.
Yeah.
and doing that sort of thing. Another big topic down there at Grizzly was and of course this has been a social media topic though. But what's your all's opinion on how technology and advancement's going to affect the fish?
I don't think it's going to hurt this lake. We got too many now.
I think Truman's too big.
Too big, too
Too
much
big.
cover.
Too much cover, enough shad. I think there's plenty of fish. I don't think you'll hurt it.
I think we're gonna have plenty of fish, and I think in years to come, like Tebow with all them fish, I think you're gonna see them get smaller.
Mm-hmm.
Like last night, I was below the marina, and those are all crappie entry. There's 50 crappie there.
Yeah.
Probably.
Actually,
Those are all 8-inch
Mhm.
crappie.
Yeah.
You catch one, they're all
Catch
8-inch.
them, all
Yeah.
same size.
Mm-hmm.
And never, like, multiple trees are like that, you know, all the way through.
Hmm.
That's how that creek we was in today. And the trees in there look like that, but you can get away from them trees and catch them.
You think they're
big
shad,
fish.
but then you catch one, it's a
You catch
crappie.
one.
Mhm.
Yeah, they're not shed.
Yeah.
So, do you think that we need to lower the length limit?
I think we
Increase?
need to leave it like it is. I don't think, I've heard talk of going to 10-inch, it'll be the worst thing ever.
That'd be
Doing
bad.
this 1 year class of them fish and we're gonna add that to the mix.
Mm.
I don't think they'll do it. I mean, I've voiced my opinion pretty strong to some people, and I hope
Mhm.
not.
Mm.
You know, up in Smithville Lake, they they got us out of whack up there. Keep 15 under 9, 15 over 9. Once it gets out of whack, you don't get. It's like a pond.
Mhm.
You know, pond gets out of whack, you got to kill and start over.
Mhm.
So it could happen here.
It's amazing how many crappie are in this lake. You know, like up at their work, I talk to guys that have the live scope, do whatever, and they'll go out and catch 3 crappie. You know, oh, there's not that many crappie in this lake. Well, you're not looking at it right. You know what I'm saying? Then maybe that's the same guy who went last year when Spider and caught his limit that day. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So for the guy that goes and catches all this crappie with the live scope, guy that used to, it's I don't know, I think kind of averages out, my opinion on it.
That was big talk down there, and that there's a lot of
I
those.
think,
So,
I think some lakes you could definitely
The
hurt some-
10,000 acre
Definitely
lakes.
those
Yeah.
lakes in Oklahoma that are smaller lakes,
Mhm.
and I could see those getting hurt bad because we're not used to it here. But when I come back from Texas, I hit a lake in Oklahoma, and I drove across the dam, and you could see the other end of the lake,
Yeah.
and that's on Truman. You could see the other end of the creek, you know, and so yeah, I could see where you could hurt a lake real fast in
Mhm.
areas like that.
That's true.
Yeah,
I mean, Texas. Some of the lakes in Texas aren't that big. Definitely a lot of little lakes in Oklahoma.
Yeah, and there's some guys down there that are starting to lower their guides that are lowering their boat limit. You know,
You
kind
can-
of taking things in their own hands.
Mhm.
You know, and a lot of people are doing that. You know, I mean, we all right here aren't going to do anything to jeopardize our resource. You know what I mean? And we take conservation in our own hands too, and we fish responsibly. You know, keep what we can eat, and that's about it. None of us are fish hoarders or anything like that. But talking about like the 10-inch going to a 10-inch limit and stuff like that, to me, it's kind of like the point restriction on a deer. You know, they put in a point restriction, and now everybody's killing all these big bucks. Like, man, that point restriction is the best thing to ever happen. Did it help a little? Maybe.
Mhm.
Did it have really a huge impact? I think not.
Yeah.
You know, people,
People
technology, you know, hunters got a different mindset,
Yeah.
you know, putting out food plots,
Mhm.
running trail cameras, doing this, doing that, managing their own
Mhm.
properties. That's why you're seeing bigger deer
Mhm.
killed. It's not because of an antler restriction.
Yeah, hunters got a different mindset and started.
Yeah, and so I think
Killing
that's what
bigger deer.
people, you know, like us are the same way on the fishing side
Yeah.
of it. You know, we'll follow, you know, obviously follow the law, but
Mhm.
but you know, we may go one step further to kind of help with the resource if it looks like it's in jeopardy.
Mhm. What was the consensus of people you were talking to down at Grizzly Jig?
A lot of those people fish the smaller lakes, like what Dylan was talking about, you
Mm.
know, where you could see all the way across them or whatever. You know.
Mhm.
There's a lot of guys that are worried about their
Yeah.
impoundment, you know, that
Deals like that, they should do something with the lemons and
Mhm.
stuff.
Yeah.
Even not just the guides, for everybody.
yeah, oh yeah.
Yeah.
But you know, some of those lakes, that's what blew my mind. Some of those lakes have such liberal limits.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
It's
You know what I
40, 45 a person or something.
Yeah.
Like that. I didn't keep.
There's some
any
lakes in
fish.
southeast Kansas that are not very big that are
Yeah,
like
same thing.
1,000, 1,500 acres, and your limit is 50. And I'm pretty sure the one that I fished, there was no length limit either. And you freaking keep
They're probably
50.
out of hand already.
Yeah, they are. They are.
Yeah,
Well, Mark
But
Twain
it-
the same way.
yeah.
Yeah. But it was pretty outrageous limits.
Mhm.
Not something we're used to seeing up here.
But if you stuck a whole bunch of people in there who now have technology where
Mhm.
fish can't hide,
Yeah.
it wouldn't take long to get that back in check, you
Right.
know, or even damage it,
Yeah.
you know, on liberal limit type deals.
Right.
I don't know. It's all in your mindset, I guess.
Yeah.
This lake fish is stouter now, or as stout as I've ever seen it fish.
Mhm.
You know, and I pre-live scope. it didn't fish as good and healthier for as far as the fish, the weight of them.
Mm-hmm.
It's just getting better and better every year.
Yeah.
What you caught? Yesterday, what'd you have? 185 and
I had 4 fish over 155.
Wow.
And that was
down.
down.
And that's not noted for that.
That's, yeah.
And we caught some dandies down there yesterday too, just
We
a
had
little
some-
bit further than him.
Yeah.
Some good ones today too in that creek.
Well, good stuff. We'll always definitely keep bringing awareness to that. And, anytime anyone has a question and wants to get our input, we're happy to offer our opinions on that kind of stuff. And looking forward to an exciting 2021 with a lot more videos and fishing to come and fishing reports. So
I'm ready to freaking see everybody.
yeah.
The sports shows and everything, COVID's got canceled.
Mm-hmm.
Went through a whole year's, all of us have, return clients that we have every year, the same time every year. And for whatever reason, I'm anxious to freaking see everybody.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Get back to normal.
Yeah.
Yep.
I'm ready to get out and have a good time and see everyone and get after it.
100%. Well, thanks a bunch, guys, for being here tonight. Once again, Jeff Falconberry, Endless Season Guide Service. Jeff, what's your phone number to get a hold of you for trips?
Hey, my number is 660-351-5420. 660-351-5420. Got some fall dates left and a few summer dates, but filling up pretty quick. So if you want to get on, we need to get on pretty fast. I do have another boat running with me on the weekends doing some catfish stuff. So just get a hold of me.
Yeah, absolutely. Got Hunter Bowling and Richard Bowling, and Hunter helps Richard out. Richard, what's the best way to get a hold of you?
660-351-5361. Just give me a call.
Did you guys sign up on like the same phone package with the 660-351 deal? What's going on?
They went back, this is no lie. So a guy called wanting a trip, and I give him your number. He called back and said, "You give me the wrong number." Yeah, I did. Give you just. Didn't mean to, but it's always in my head.
Yeah, it's kind of wild. And
It was on a 1-900 package. That's what we got stuck with.
Yep. Dylan Stocking from Get Outdoors Guide Service. What's the best way to get a hold of you, Dylan?
660-351-4904.
There you go. They're all on the same phone plan.
It's 351 Mafia.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Well, thanks guys for watching. Please be sure to share this with your friends and family. Let them know the kind of stuff we're putting out. We appreciate you guys all for watching. Your guys' support is what makes this all possible. So we appreciate you guys being members and being premium members as well. So we'll look forward to doing this again here in another month, and we'll look forward to catching you guys on the next one. Take care.